Donald Trump has brought a lot of joy to many, many people. Who knew that some of that joy that had been brought to people would end up being Bill Clinton? This entire Donald Trump, blue Bill Clinton saga that has begun brings me much joy, I'll tell you that. Who knew? Let me also say this. That when I was a young boy and Ronald Reagan was president, I never imagined that I would grow up to be this man talking about politics in this day and age. And in that day and age, I might have to bleep myself when talking about the current president of the United States sucking the of a previous president of the United States. And that is exactly where we are in this country right now. Donald Trump has dragged us into the gutter, both rhetorically and politically and culturally and economically, morally, ethically. Have I already said those? I mean, come on. So this is what this is all about. If you don't know, I had somebody email me or text me. A buddy texted me yesterday. And I've been seeing this all over the place. What is this? Where is this from? And now I have the email that was in the pile, the tranche of emails from the Epstein's estate. And this is exactly what this is. It's an interaction, an email exchange between Mark Epstein, the brother of Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein, in which he asks the question, does Putin have the photo of Trump blowing Bubba? Not, does he have a photo? Does he have a photo of that? No, does he have the photo? Does he have the photo? Meaning there's a photo. They know there's a photo. Does Putin have it? Wow. So I'm going to go through this. I've outlined it so it's easier to read for myself because it's reading from bottom to top. We'll put the email on the screen here. Again, this is March 2018, an email exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother, Mark. This is Mark Epstein to Jeffrey. How are you doing? A while back, you mentioned that you were pre-diabetic. Has anything changed with that? What is your boy Donald up to now? Jeffrey Epstein replies, all good. Bannon with me. I'm assuming that's a reference to Steve Bannon. Mark Epstein replies, ask him if Putin has the photos, photos, plural, more than one. Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Now, this would seem outlandish. Donald Trump would never, the alpha man, the mighty masculine man, the straight, notably virile dude would never put himself in a position to be sucking the dick of Bill Clinton. Also, we'll wait for that. Wait, there's not like video evidence of Donald Trump being weird with a microphone, is there? I guess there is video evidence of Donald Trump being weird with a microphone, broadcasting to the world his fellatio skills, I guess. I guess Bill Clinton wasn't available during that rally, so he had to substitute the microphone. Anyway, the emails go on. I asked if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba, to which Jeffrey Epstein replies, and I thought I had Surus. Now, I had to look up what Surus is for all of my understanding of the English language. There are many, many, many thousands of words that I don't know, and Surus is one of them. Apparently, it means trouble or distress. This is from Merriam-Webster. And I thought I had troubles or problems, is what Jeffrey Epstein says there. To which Mark Epstein replies, you and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard. Jeffrey Epstein replies, you mean Donnie T, meaning Donald J. Trump, current, and at the time, actually, President of the United States of America. To which Mark Epstein replies, I'd rather be in Donnie D's shoes. I don't know exactly which Donald or Don D. they're talking about. But look, what do you think? Do you think there's actually a chance that Donald Trump actually got down on the of Bill Clinton? I find it unlikely. But man, anything that is sending Donald Trump over the edge, and trust me, believe me, I think you probably see it with your own eyes, he is spinning out of control. Whether that be on Air Force One, telling reporters to be quiet when they ask very appropriate questions that the rest of America wants to know. That if there's nothing wrong, there's nothing to be revealed relative to you about the Epstein files. Why are you refusing to release them? Shut up! You be quiet! I'll only ask the questions to which I think I'm equipped to answer. This is the question that reporters need to be asking. Hey, did you fillet Bill Clinton? Did you give head to Bill Clinton? Did you suck the of Bill Clinton? Have you had Bill Clinton in your mouth? We know his name is in your mouth a whole bunch right now, but has his actual manhood, his member, his phallus, has it been whirling around inside the mouth of Donald Trump? This is where we are in America right now. We're not attending to the business of the people. We're not seeing that prices are lowered. We're not dealing with the housing crisis in America or the affordability crisis in America, rising prices at the grocery store, rising prices in your utility bills. Instead, the matter at hand is whether or not Donald Trump on the penis of Bill Clinton. Could be. I would love your opinion. I would love your thoughts. Have you followed the story? What else is in the tranche of email? Look, I haven't gone, there's like 20,000 or something. There's a lot of emails in there. I don't know the exact number, but what else is there? I said when I read the very first three that the oversight Democrats released on Blue Sky, that there's certainly going to be more here. This is not going to be the most damaging. You know, the ones where it said that Donald Trump spent hours with one of the underage victims alone in Jeffrey Epstein's house. The ones where they talk about, I know how dirty Donald Trump is. And of course he knew about the girls. I'm not even talking about that. Those are bad enough. Here we're getting to all kinds of other salacious, weird soap opera-y stuff. Look, it's not a judgment against two men having sexual activity with one another. Who cares? Who cares? But when you present yourself as something and then you are not that thing, there is some little concern there. And Donald Trump certainly has done that in many, many ways. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. Please keep yourself safe in the YouTube comment section. You don't want to be getting banned. You don't want to be getting your account shuttered. So be easy. Take care of yourself and your account when talking about this particular matter. That's why I'm bleeping myself here. Anyway, you can do so in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line where you are unrestrained by bleeps. You can use whatever language you want. 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollamore.com. Thanks for being here. Wow. What a magical time to be a political commentator on the internets, right? I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another, whether or not that's like Donald Trump took care of Bill Clinton or in some other altruistic way. Please do so. Take care of one another. Look, when I say Donald Trump is spinning out of control, I mean he's spinning out of control. He is now disavowing Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's this entire soap opera drama playing out on a global stage. I mean, if it happens in the United States on the news, it's eventually broadcast to the world. And let me tell you, I don't buy Marjorie Taylor Greene's conversion. I think it's bullshit. I think that all the evidence that has been presented thus far leads us to that conclusion that she is just a grifter. She's a liar. She wanted to run for Senate or governor of Georgia. She was swatted down by Donald Trump, and it pissed her off. And now she's turned on Donald Trump, kind of. And he certainly turned on her. A woman that had his full faith and credit of the presidency, the full endorsement, unyielding support of Donald Trump. Until she didn't. I'm going to play a clip, first of all, from yesterday on Air Force One, and then I'm going to play this, or not play this, I'm going to read some of these, not all of them, because seriously, these posts on Truth Social and these tweets on Twitter are just lengthy, drama-fueled nonsense. I'm going to read the parts that really matter. But first, this was yesterday night on Truth Social as Donald Trump flew to Mar-a-Lago to spend his weekends not being president of the United States, but glad-handing with donors and club members, you know, the thing he really wants to do. And then we'll get to some of these posts.
So I heard that Marjorie Taylor Greene said, oh, gee, I'm spending too much time overseas. So let's say I don't meet with China. You know what's happened right now to Georgia and every other state? They're not working because your magnets travel 22 hours in an airplane, as nice as this plane is. So, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not anyway, I mean, she is a very different thinking than I have. Something happened to her over the last period of a month or two where she changed, I think, politically. I think that her constituents aren't going to be happy. Already, I have people calling me. They want to challenge her to a race in her district in Georgia. And, you know, that's too bad. She's lost a wonderful conservative reputation. But when she says, don't go overseas, if I didn't go overseas, we might be in a war right now with China.
It's scorched earth is what's happening right now. And look, I'm here for it. At any moment that MAGA wants to tear at themselves, they want to have civil war within the movement, that's good for the country. That's good for us, absolutely, because it means less time being able to be spent, less energy being able to be spent destroying the country, diminishing the democratic reach of Americans, disenfranchising millions of people by attempting to oppress and suppress the vote. So that's a good thing. He wrote this on Truth Social yesterday at 8:31. I've got, I think, 3 posts on Truth Social. Oh, and then he's doing this thing too. So great. He can't find the post that he needs to share from just Truth Social. So he has to go to Twitter, get screenshots, and then post those on Truth Social. It tells you just how important and vital his personal social media network is. So he writes this: I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman, in quotes, like she's not actually a congresswoman. An idiot, doesn't know what anything is. Marjorie Taylor Greene of the great state of Georgia. And then he gives this nonsense, insane set of lies about his accomplishments. Every single one is untrue. And then he says, all I see wacky. Why is it in quotes? If she's wacky, why is it in quotes? She is wacky. You don't have to put it in quotes. Wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. It seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator and governor. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. Now, let me comment on this particular thing, mark where I am here so I can find it quickly. A lot of people, when AOC, when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I played this message from Instagram where she said this exact thing. People were like, how does she know? She's not in the know. That's a lie. She's a liar. She doesn't know. She clearly knew. Donald Trump saying right here exactly when the moment was that Marjorie Taylor Greene decided to start speaking less aggrandizing of Donald Trump, less positive of Donald Trump, less worshipful in the cult of Donald Trump. She's not gone anti-MAGA. She's not gone anti-America first. In fact, she's doubling down on that stance. She says in her response to this, which we're going to get to eventually, that I'm not America first. I'm America only. I am America first. I haven't changed at all, she says. We'll continue here. This is Donald Trump again. She has told many people that she is upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore. But with 219 congressmen / women, there are 435. He means Republicans because he doesn't communicate with Democrats. He's not a president of all of the country. He's only a president to Republicans. He's only a leader for Republicans. He doesn't give a shit about Democrats. And he says it right here. With 219 congressmen / women, 53 U.S. senators, 24 cabinet members, almost 200 countries, and an otherwise normal life to lead, otherwise normal life. I guess that's subjective, right? I can't take a ranting lunatic, capitalized for some reasons, call every day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, that they too are fed up with her and her antics. And if the right persons run, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left. Let's address those two things really quickly and I'll move on here. She will have, whoever primaries Marjorie Taylor Greene will have his complete and unyielding support until you don't, because Marjorie Taylor Greene had your complete and unyielding support and now she doesn't. It's because you're a liar. Donald Trump has no loyalty to anyone but himself and his own interest. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a loyal soldier for MAGA, an insurrectionist supporting anti-democratic asshole. She still is this. She hasn't turned over a new leaf. She hasn't changed her mind about anything. She's the same as she was always. And then this, that she has gone far left. Marjorie Taylor Greene has gone far left. If there has ever been an admission that when Donald Trump calls someone far left, like Chuck Schumer far left, that if he's calling Marjorie Taylor Greene far left, that it's a meaningless phrase. It means nothing. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene is hard right if there ever was. Here is another one. This is from this morning at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Lightweight Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Brown. Green grass turns brown when it begins to rot. Listen, if you have to explain your joke, it's not that funny. All right, Donald, that's just a PSA, a little public service announcement from me, from an often unfunny person to an always unfunny person. All right, giving you a little nugget of wisdom. Fucking dipshit. Betrayed the entire Republican Party when she turned left, performed poorly on the pathetic View, and became a rhino. We all know she was just another fake politician, no different than Rand Paul Jr., Thomas Massey, who got caught being a full-fledged Republican in name only, blah, 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 blah. And then again this morning, 9:17 a.m., Marjorie Taylor Greene just has no interest in being president of the United States, no interest in being a leader, no interest in being a unifier. He is just in it to cover for himself and the credible accusations against him that he raped children. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a disgrace to our great Republican Party. And then he did this. He shared these. Sorry, it's starting to be wintertime. My hands are all dry. Then he shared these particular images on Twitter. You choose your side. These are people who support Donald Trump against Marjorie Taylor Greene. These are replies to Marjorie Taylor Greene on Twitter. You chose your side when you joined the Democrats. Your political future had just ended. Hope it was worth it, sell out, blah, blah, blah. But this is the one I really like. Oh, no, there's another one. He fights for America every day. You seem to be focused on getting likes. And then this one. These really is just an admission that MAGA is just filled to the brim, chocked full of just abject morons who don't look past themselves or Donald Trump. They just love the aroma of his grundle butter. They want to slather it on and breathe it in like it's oxygen. This is to Marjorie Taylor Greene that this fucking moron, what he has to say. You've literally, talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene, you've literally been all over the map since he told you the truth. You're not built for the Senate and you never will be. Talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene, this is true, but he doesn't apply this to Donald Trump, which is just the weird tragedy of all of this. You speak on things wildly without having a deep understanding of any subject you speak on. And then he rambles on and on. That is a statement crafted, built for. It is an artisan creation for Donald Trump's ears. that you speak wildly about things you have no deep understanding of. Donald Trump, how many times have you heard Donald Trump talk about magnets and then also say, nobody knows what they are, nobody knows how they work? But MAGA it's a cult. It is absolutely a weird, disgusting, dangerous cult. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm not going to read all of this, but we'll put it up and you can pause and read it if you'd like. This is what she wrote. I'm just going to read two sections of the many paragraphs here. President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all, but I did send these text messages today, which I'm going to get to. Apparently, this is what sent him over the edge. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene recognizes that he's spinning out of control. This is what sent him over the edge. The Epstein files. It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out that he actually goes to this level. That is because it is so important for Donald Trump to not have us know what's in them because of what we're going to learn, whether it be him sucking Bill Clinton's or whether it be the fact that he knew about the girls, or the fact that Jeffrey Epstein said that he's dirty and he's filthy and he's bad. When a pedophile calls you dirty and filthy, it's no good. Or the fact that he spent hours with one of the underage victims alone in Jeffrey Epstein's house. There's more to learn. There's more to learn. And then here, I will put these up. I'm not going to read these, but I will put both of these up. One is to a Trump spokesperson, the one who dictates his posts on social media. Oh, how the having a job as a high-level staffer for a president has really fallen and been diminished. Natalie Harp is her name. That's the green here. And then this is the blue. Both of these are messages from Marjorie Taylor Greene to these individuals. She didn't share the communications with Donald Trump or other than the Jeffrey Epstein hoax from Natalie Harp. So look, a lot of this is just political drama, soap opera bullshit, but it tells you where the focus of the president of the United States is right now. He's not posting about affordability. He's not posting about getting your energy bills down, your utility bills. He's not talking about making your life easier. He's not talking about bringing your healthcare costs down. In fact, he's talking about demolishing the healthcare system in the United States. What he is posting about is Marjorie Taylor Greene. He is posting about Thomas Massie. He is, and lucky for us, he's keeping the Epstein story in the news with rather than just ignoring it and hoping it goes away, he continues to invigorate the conversation in the minds of the American people. Anyway, what do you think about this? Have you followed this story? I would love to know what your take is on Donald Trump's spinning out of control. I think that'll be in the thumbnail of the title because it's just so accurate. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. Comment below if you'd like to sound off. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another. I think what's happening relative to the Jeffrey Epstein stuff and Donald Trump's health is that his staffers are giving him the advice to just pipe down, just be quiet, just let this pass. This too shall pass. And he can't handle it because he thinks he can control the narrative. He thinks he can control what people think and say about what these scandals are. And he can't. On Air Force One last night, he was asked a series of questions. And we're going to start with the Epstein stuff. Just remarkable what's taking place in this country. The fact that we're not attending to the actual business of the people, but dealing with this. Now, one, we need to know if Donald Trump raped children. Of course. Who knew that we'd be having this conversation in America about a sitting president and what their past behavior was? Illegal, reprehensible, disgusting, violative behavior of children. It's just wild. This is what happens when you elect a scoundrel like Donald Trump, a reprobate like Donald Trump, just a disgusting individual. You get questions where reporters are asking questions, and he freaks out in this moment. A reporter asks him, I want to get it right, if there's nothing incriminating in the files, why not? And then he cuts her off before she can say, why not release them? If there's nothing there, just release them. And he shuts her up and says, quiet, quiet. Because he wants to answer the easy, or what he thinks are the easy questions. Just a remarkable moment from the President of the United States, who is credibly accused of raping little girls. Not just the ones that are like in these Epstein. We're talking about, like, Google Katie Johnson, Donald Trump. It's not just one. It's not just the grown women he has been found liable for sexually abusing in a court of law, E. Jean Carroll. It's not just the more than 24 other women who have leveled credible accusations against him for groping them, for forcing himself on them. We're not even talking about sexual harassment where it's a crass comment. We're talking about assault, brother. We're talking about actual putting hands on someone without their consent. It's not just the 24. It's not just E. Jean Carroll. We're talking about kids, children. Watch this moment.
Okay.
Mr. President, what did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, who you know, that is Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years. But he also saw a strike because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan Chase.
Sir,
Yeah,
if there's
Jennifer, go
nothing
ahead. Go ahead.
incriminating in the file, sir, why not acting as a...
Quiet.
Venezuela's...
And look, if Donald Trump was a smart man, he would take his lumps, start saying, oh yeah, I'm starting to feel a little foggy in the head. My health is failing. I need to go away. I'm going to resign. I would not suggest that we stop pursuing prosecution of Donald Trump for that. But if he was smart, that's what his out would be. He's not doing that. In fact, they were asking him questions on Air Force One about his health, because recently, as part of a physical, it's not a part of a physical that you get an MRI. It was found out that he had an MRI, which an MRI is a targeted thing. I don't know if you've ever had one. I've had several, having had cancer. I've had a shoulder surgery. I've had moments in life where I had injuries, and you go in, like my shoulder one, for instance, you go in and you have to lay there still for like a half hour while they look at one little focused area of your body. In this case, it was when I tore my labrum and had shoulder surgery. I have a giant scar here. I look like Bruce Willis on this side, that scar he has. For just one area, like a half hour you lay there. It's not a full body scan. It's not like the MedBed AI video that he shared, that fake alien technology thing. It's not that. This is real. It's not a full body scan. And so when the reporter asks him, well, what's going on with the MRI? Why won't you tell us the results? What exactly got scanned? Was it your brain? She asks him. And his story is just all over the map. Abject nonsense, total lies, which should lead you to have concern. Because if it was A-OK, if it was a clean bill of health, they would just release the details of what took place. The fact that they're keeping it secret is the problem, because it tells us, it signals to us, it communicates that he's not well. Watch this moment from Air Force One.
Mr. President, could you tell us why you needed to get an MRI? I understand that the results were good, but what was it for?
Because it's part of my physical. Getting an MRI is very standard. Well, you think I shouldn't have it? Other people
No,
get
but
it.
typically an MRI
I had an
is a
MRI.
specific part of your body.
Here's
for
what's
scanning.
serious. I had an MRI. The doctor said it was the best result he has ever seen as a doctor. That's it. But I had an MRI as part of my standard yearly, or I think they do it every 2 years, but I have the physical every year. And the result was outstanding.
Is it your brain?
You know, other thing I took, as you know, very advanced test on mental acuity, because I think a president should have to do that. And as you probably heard, I aced it. I got a perfect score. I got the highest score. I got a perfect score. And the only reason I tell you that is it's one subject, unlike Biden and others, that you can take off your plate.
A question on nuclear testing, just being very specific. Are you saying you want to explode a warhead?
I don't want to tell you about that.
There's a lot. There's so much. The one thing that Donald Trump does is provide 30 minutes worth of talking points and things to discuss inside of like a 30-second clip. And he did it again there. Let's cover a couple things. One thing that stands out to me, it's, language is complex. And when you speak the language and you watch how someone says the things, it really does communicate a lot. So when he stops there and he goes, you know what, here's the story. Not here's what happened when I was in the doctor's office and had an MRI. He's like, here's the story. Meaning, here's what we've come up with. Here are my talking points. And then he delivers them. That should tell you a lot. So tell us why you needed to have an MRI. Because it's a part of my physical. Getting an MRI is very standard. It's not part of a physical. Again, it's a targeted imaging. It's not a full body thing where they just like, oh, we scanned the whole body and everything was good from your bone spurs to your knees, but then all of a sudden we found a blood clot thing around your thigh. That's not how it works. He's a liar. Here's the story. He says, I had an MRI. The doctor said it was the best result he's ever seen as a doctor. The best result. Of all the MRIs I've had, whether they be looking at the tumor that was in my colon or whether they be looking at my shoulder or any other injury I've had in my life, maybe Donald Trump's right, because one time my doctor told me, look, this is the second best result we've ever seen. So stupid. Tell me you don't have any fucking idea about how anything works without telling me that you have no fucking idea about how anything works. Thanks for this, Donald Trump. And thank you, reporter, for asking this follow-up. Was the MRI on your brain? And then this response is just, chef's kiss of jackassery. I have no idea what they analyzed, but whatever they analyzed it well. Mm-hmm. It can only good happen.
It can only good happen.
Right. The other thing I took is a very advanced test on mental acuity, because I think as a president, you have to do that. A very advanced test on mental acuity being this. What animal is this? Oh, that's a horse. That one's a tiger. That one's a duck. Very good. You've passed with flying colors this very advanced test on mental acuity. He aced it. Got a perfect score. We have a child in a man's body running the country, devastating the global economy single-handedly, and he's a cult leader. And as evidenced by the text from the previous topic that I talked about with Marjorie Taylor, the flame war between Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's a lot of MAGA that is just in the cult. They are just baptized by the blood of Donald Trump, by the grundle butter of Donald Trump. They have been just initiated into the cult of Donald Trump, and they're here for it. They believe that it was an advanced mental acuity test. They believe that he had a full body MRI scan that wasn't his brain. I don't know what they analyzed. I know it is my health. I'm 80 years old. Who knows? But whatever they analyzed, it went really well. Who believes this? Other than people that are absolutely in the tank for Donald Trump or have political interest in mind, their own future in mind, their own enrichment, whether that be career-wise or literal enrichment through money. Nobody believes this shit. Nobody should believe this shit. What do you think? I invite you to this conversation, this very terrifying conversation. We can have it in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching them. Please make sure you're liked and following. You have liked and you are following the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. It's free to do so. Just click subscribe. Still, very unlikely, but still trying to get to 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. With your help, I can do it. I'm going to go. Be genuine. Take care of one another.
The Bible tells us that one of the measures of any society is how it cares for vulnerable children and orphans. So important, and it's so big in the Bible. So as we make America great again, we are going to protect American children.
Listen, when you got Big Mac sauce coursing through your veins, or Thanksgiving gravy for that matter, and you are a credibly accused pedophile, a rapist of children, and your cognition is failing, it must be tough. On an unrelated note to that, Donald Trump's having a real rough time. So much so that he's really leaning into the God talk now that he is facing all of the troubles that he is. Now that we have emails from Jeffrey Epstein to Michael Wolff of 2019 saying, of course he knew about the girls. Very rough for Donald Trump when in August of 2018, you got another email from Jeffrey Epstein who says, I know how dirty Donald Trump is. Real rough for Donald Trump when in April 2011, another email, this one to Jeffrey Epstein from disgraced, convicted sexual trafficker and rapist of children, Ghislaine Maxwell. And she says, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Donald Trump. This victim, this underage victim, spent hours alone with Donald Trump. Real rough. And so what do you do when you're a fake Christian who's leading a party filled with fake Christians, fake family values conservatives? Well, what you do is you lean into God talk. You host an event at the White House where you're talking about foster kids and we're going to protect kids, he says, while invoking God over and over and over. And he knows so little about his faith that he just kind of starts rambling with gibberish. But before I play these particular choice clips, here is Donald Trump before the event started. It started, but before he made his remarks. Melania Trump is speaking, his wife. And he's standing, and even while standing, he can barely keep his eyes open.
I predict this small spark today will ignite a profound and lasting nationwide movement. Our united resolve will foster a thriving future filled with compassion and innovation. Together, we will illuminate the pathway for today's foster children to become tomorrow's builders. And tomorrow's builders...
Again, it must be taxing to be in certain positions, legally, morally, ethically, just as a decent human being. He doesn't know anything about those things. The other thing, before I get to the crux here, that I want to talk about is that this was like not even 3 minutes in, this clip I'm getting ready to play for you. Not even 3 minutes in, and Donald Trump starts rambling about his ballroom. Starts explaining that the wall behind him will no longer be there. It'll be the entrance to his grand palatial ballroom that only he cares about. I don't know a single person in real life who gives a single fuck about the ballroom, except that maybe they know that to be a waste of money, a waste of time, a waste of effort, a waste of general resources, monetarily and human, otherwise. And here's Donald Trump obsessing on it.
We're also joined by countless distinguished leaders in the child welfare advocacy ministry and charitable foundations, as well as so many wonderful young people who have experienced foster care and used their voices to champion needed reforms. And I want to thank everybody for being here. It's an amazing day at the White House. Thank you very much. And right behind me, by the way, in about 2 years from now, we'll use a much bigger room because we had to turn away a lot of people. and it'll be right here. This will be the entrance. That's a knockout paddle. It's called the knockout. It looks pretty nice right now, but it's going to look a lot better in a little while. And we're going to go from this room into a room that seats a few more people, and it's going to be beautiful. But I just noticed I happen to be standing here, Peter, and I thought I might as well get you a shot right now, a nice, beautiful shot at the future entrance to something that's really become very popular, the ballroom. They've wanted it for 150 years, and they're getting it, and they're getting the best. It'll be the best anywhere in the world.
Now, that is just remarkable to me, that he is so in another world. He exists in another plane of reality, that people are suffering, prices are increasing, they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. He goes to court to fight against paying for people's food assistance from the government, and he's talking about his ballroom, his $1/3 billion ballroom. The event was about foster children, about protecting foster children, about making their lives better. And they, of course, with any Republican event, they sprinkle in a lot of God talk, a lot of Jesus talk, a lot of Christianity talk. And here, Donald Trump, in his written remarks, you know how he does this thing where he goes away from what is written for him and starts riffing. This, I don't even know what this was. I don't know if he was riffing or whether he just got confused by the remarks, but let's try, please. Maybe I just don't understand. Maybe I'm just daft. That could be. You explain to me what in the hell he's trying to communicate here.
Faith-based nonprofits are the nation's most trusted institutions, interacting with the foster care system and practicing Christians and more. Think of this, more than twice as likely foster care. They'll adopt the general population. They adopt to it so easily. When they get out, they adopt to it just like becomes second nature. It's amazing. Yet radical left policies in states nationwide make it much harder, not easier, for those families to open up their homes. But we're working on that. We're dealing with the radical left. It's not easy, but we're winning, and we're winning big.
I've got the transcript here. Let's just read what he said. Blah, blah, blah. Interacting with the foster care system and practicing Christians and more, which think it is more than twice as likely foster care. They'll adopt the general population. They'll adopt it so easily. When they get out, they adopt to it just like it's just become second nature. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right. It's amazing that you think that's a sentence. It's amazing that you think that communicates anything that anybody can understand whatsoever. But yeah, there's no problem with Donald Trump's cognition. Everything's fine, everybody. So here's the element that I want to talk about chiefly and primarily, and it is the leaning into. Every time these ghouls get into trouble, they start really adhering to their newfound or maybe just dormant Christianity. We've seen it with Russell Brand, who was famously an atheist, and now he's getting baptized, and he's like a big Catholic or something, like super religious, only after he's been accused of raping children. Again, it's just replete with these conservative types. And here's Donald Trump telling us about the Bible and how it's real strong in the Bible. It's so big in the Bible, and we're going to protect kids, says the man who was best friends with a child rapist for a decade and a half, who's mentioned hundreds, if not thousands of times in emails to and from Jeffrey Epstein, a disgraced, deplorable, horrific criminal against children. But tell me more about Jesus, a guy who said it's better to have a millstone, a giant millstone hung around your neck, and have you tossed to the bottom of the sea to die, to drown, than it is to harm a child. But tell me more, Donald Trump. Quote your little scriptures that you don't know. Watch this.
As president, I will always stand by us. We will stand by our country, and we will stand for religious liberty. So important. We stand for religious liberty. The Bible tells us, thank you. Thank you. The Bible tells us that one of the measures of any society is how it cares for vulnerable children and orphans. So important, and it's so big in the Bible. So as we make America great again, we are going to protect American children in foster care, and we're going to ensure that they will never, ever be forgotten. These children will never be forgotten, and they're going to grow up to be unbelievable, strong, smart, wealthy, productive citizens.
The Bible tells us that the measure of any good society is how well they treat children, how they protect children. And again, this is a man who just fought in court to not pay food assistance for hungry kids. Tell us more about the Bible, you fucking dirty hypocrite. And all of this is to be a distraction, to try to make him seem kind or generous or altruistic or whatever. We know that not to be the case. Especially we know because when he left the room, he darted. It was practically running away in full retreat because he had to run through a line of reporters that were asking him about the Epstein emails, about his involvement with a predator of children, about Donald Trump's possible predation of children himself. This is full retreat. I don't know that I've ever seen Donald Trump walk or run this fast. Never seen him move this fast. Here we are. We all see you. We all know what's going on. Even MAGA knows what's going on. They have to twist themselves into a pretzel to try to look away from or explain away this behavior. The thing they've screamed about and banged on about for years and years and years, the Epstein files. The White House printed binders with Epstein files phase 1 and given it to conservative troll influencers. And now it's a hoax, it's a hoax, it's a hoax. He's running away from hoax questions. Gross. Anyway, I invite you to this conversation. Let's talk about it in the comments below this video, whether that be Facebook or YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and follow and like the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily.
Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Speaking of conservatives knowing that Donald Trump is dead to rights, guilty of the crimes he's been accused, they know, or at least they have their deep suspicions that Donald Trump is guilty of crimes against children, because now instead of saying he didn't do it, they're saying, well, maybe it wasn't what it was. Maybe it's okay to have sex with a 15-year-old. And they're just, this is the thing about conservatism and the Republican Party that made me escape as a young man. It's the hypocrisy. It's the lies. It's the having to shifting your narrative constantly, moving the goalpost constantly. I have ideologies that are set in me. I have a North Star. I have things that guide me, principles and morality and ethics. And I can't change them just because the guy that I voted for ended up being a child rapist. That's not in me. I don't have that. If a politician steps out of line, I call them out for it. And if they don't correct the behavior, I write them off because I don't deify politicians. I guess I never have. Apparently, that's not the case with Megyn Kelly, who is changing her story remarkably on what exactly is and is not child rape. What exactly is and is not consent. Who is a victim and who is not. I saw this headline from Media Matters, and it seemed almost unbelievable until I looked into it. It is Megyn Kelly questions whether Jeffrey Epstein's desire for, quote, very young teen types made him a pedophile. And this, of course, is an extension of what you will be seeing in the coming weeks and months when they start defending Donald Trump for this type of behavior. Saying, oh, it wasn't pedophilia, it was something else. He just likes them young. All of it's gross. All of it is disgusting, reprehensible. This is the same crowd that has demonized drag queen story hour and gay people and trans people. We're not safe in bathrooms and oh, they're grooming the kids. And then when an actual groomer, convicted groomer and rapist of children, who is an associate of Donald Trump, a best friend type of Donald Trump, when that is found out, then it's like, oh, well, that's not grooming. That's That's something different. And they're liars and hypocrites. And the reason I know they're liars and hypocrites because I have two clips for you of Megyn Kelly. One from January of 2018 when she was still a respectable journalist. This is when she left Fox News and went to NBC and hosted her little Today Show offshoot program. And she had Nicole Eggert on, who accused Scott Baio, another Republican stalwart conservative who was accused of sex crimes. And Megyn Kelly, in this clip I'm getting ready to play, it's maybe not even 30 seconds. She's saying, talking with accuracy about her feelings and about the law, about consent, about a child. Who is a child? And they can't consent. They legally cannot because they're of whatever age. Watch this. Remember, 2018, January 2018, Megyn Kelly on NBC.
The age of consent, just so you know, is 18 in California and was back then as well. So there's no consenting for a 14 or even a 17-year-old in these circumstances. So talk about that you feel as a victim, you feel a victim. To people who are going to be out there, because some are going to judge and say you were 15, you were 16, you were 17, you were a willing participant. Again, the legal age of consent in California is 18.
And it's not a one-off. All of that is accurate. All of that is true. All of that is reality. But that's not a one-off. That's not just that's just the one time. Maybe that was just because NBC made her say it. On her own program in 2023. Well, this is with her backdrop, but it's not her program. It's a Great Britain news. It's a UK news show. And they're talking about Russell Brand, the guy I just talked about, who's now flipped and he's found Jesus. He's now, after having been credibly accused and having legal ramifications come his way, now he's a religious man. Now he's found the Lord. Here she is coming out against Russell Brand, talking about the crimes and how it's disgusting and speaking reasonably about it. She acts like an idiot in the clip. You'll see when she's like threatening to unsubscribe to him because he's these people. Anyway, watch this and then we'll move on to her making excuses, her formulating her argument for when she ultimately defends Donald Trump's crimes.
I don't really care if it turns out that the rape charge or the sexual assault charges fall apart. You're 31 years old and you have sex allegedly over a 3-month period with a 16-year-old. We're done. I'm unsubscribing. All right. And I am sick of conservatives online trying to defend that as though she had a role in it. She was a minor. Just because you can't be prosecuted for it doesn't mean it's right. The conservative men I know are lovely. They're ethical. They're honorable. It's not to say they've never fallen down in their lives, but in no world would they be taking advantage of a 16-year-old minor. I have a daughter who's 4 years away from that. You come anywhere near her as a 31-year-old man, and we are going to have a serious problem. And it's not going to be over whether you get demonetized on YouTube. Yes. I really hope my friends on the conservative side of the aisle would remember, just because we're all over Me Too and it was an overreaction and it went too far and it got politicized, doesn't mean that we have to knee-jerk defend every scumbag who gets accused of bad behavior.
I'm done. I'm unsubscribing. That's too much for me. No more. That logic doesn't follow now, though, apparently. If you're 31 having sex with a teenage girl, that was too much in 2023, but apparently something magical happened in between 2023 and where we sit today in 2024. Donald Trump's president now. The dear leader is now being accused of the crimes she once felt reprehensible. Here she is. This is what led me down this rabbit hole. The Media Matters headline. Here she is explaining away crimes against children and making weird comparisons between 15-year-old girls and 5-year-old girls.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn, now they call it child sexual abuse material, on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yes, Megyn Kelly. Yes, there is a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. The 15-year-old is a child, and the 5-year-old is a younger child. They're both children. Neither can consent. Any sexual activity with either is a crime, immoral, damaging, trauma-inducing. So when you were once outraged that a 31-year-old would feign to have sex with a 16 or 17-year-old, now a 15-year-old, it's okay. With a greasy, sweaty 60-year-old elderly Donald Trump or Jeffrey Epstein. This is what I don't understand. Megyn Kelly is a victim of these types of acts herself. I don't know how far it went. Certainly sexual harassment. Megyn Kelly has kids this age. So Megyn, would it be okay if a 50-year-old Jeffrey Epstein or a 60-year-old Jeffrey Epstein, a 70-year-old Donald Trump, if he propositioned your children? Would that be okay? Because, 15 is not 5. And where's the goalpost moving going to stop? Well, look, there's a difference between a 5-year-old and an 18-month-old. Is this it seems to be the trajectory with these ghouls. There is no low too low. There is no crime too abhorrent for them not to defend if Donald Trump is involved. Donald Trump just acted disgracefully toward Megyn Kelly. Remember? She's bleeding out of her eyes, whatever nonsense he said, insinuating that she was on her period when she asked the questions during the debate, during the 2016 campaign. When he was maligning Rosie O'Donnell. Just misogynistic. It is the least of Donald Trump's crimes. He has no respect for women. He has no respect for young women. He has no respect for children. They are all objects of his desire and usefulness. And the same with his pals, the Jeffrey Epstein friend group. Conservatives are rudderless. They are moralless. They are disgusting. They will be the destruction of our republic because of the fact that they don't have any deeply held moral convictions, no ethos, no ideology to guide them. Sickening. What are your thoughts? I'd love to know. You can comment below.
We should note, though, that Trump, he's not been at this point implicated of wrongdoing. We do just need to be clear of that.
It's not just disgraced former reputable media figures like Megyn Kelly who are out here doing heavy lifting for Donald Trump to try to extricate him from blame or scandal. And I don't know. Listen, I'm going to play two clips for you that these are just two clips. I watch a lot of CNN. It's like a torture session. it's like a workout because I get to yell and scream at the TV and be pissed off at Jake Tapper and many other idiots on the network. But this is why, by the way, you'll never see me on a panel on Abby Phillips' show. It's because they're not going to invite me. I've been too unkind. I've been too accurate about what they do. So I watch a lot of CNN, and I've been seeing them do this thing that I'm getting ready to demonstrate to you every single day. In every single conversation they have about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, about all of these emails that have come out from 2011 to 2018 to 2019 that say, yeah, Donald Trump knew about the girls. Yeah, Donald Trump spent hours alone with this underage victim. Yeah, I know how dirty Donald Trump is. Every time they get mentioned, every time there's a panel discussion, one of their reporters, one of their journalists reads a canned response that has been provided them by the network, I assume, because some of these people I don't have any squabble with. Jessica Dean, I think she does good work. You're going to see her. Breonna Keeler has stepped in it a few times and acted like a dumbass. But, you know, we're all human. How many times have I acted like a dumbass? How many times have I made mistakes? Many, many, many. I'm not beyond the gaze of criticism at all. But look, we need to be held accountable when we have positions of influence. I've got 1.25 million subscribers. Who knows how many people she broadcasts to every night? We need to be held accountable when we step in it, right? So I would say to these people who have very lofty, heavy, weighty, important jobs, influential positions in our culture, that they could tell corporate, I'm not reading this. I'm not going to read this statement that says, just so we get it on the record, we need to say this. Donald Trump's not guilty of anything. He did nothing. Oh. Why the heavy lifting? Why the carrying of water for a man who's dedicated his entire political life to destroying the country, ending democracy in the nation, attempting to overthrow the United States government by way of overturning a free and fair election? He attempted an insurrection, a coup. And now he's announcing another coup, which is to run for a third term, to violate the Constitution and not leave the Oval Office. Likely he'll be dead before that. But why are they defending this man? Why are they standing up and putting so much energy in to doing this right here? Here's Breonna Keeler reading the little statement, making sure the audience knows Donald Trump's a good guy. Donald Trump hasn't really been accused of anything. All of that's not true. Here's Breonna Keeler.
And note, I mean, these emails, they're raising significant questions. We're going to seek answers, obviously, to those questions. We should note, though, that Trump, he's not been, at this point, implicated of wrongdoing. We do just need to be clear of that. We are asking those questions, of course. These emails do predate his time as president, but certainly we are glad to have you on to talk about this. It's really important.
We should note, though, she says, should we? Should we, Breonna? Should we note? We must note. It must be stated that Donald Trump has not been at this point implicated of wrongdoing. We do just need to be clear of that, she says. We are asking those questions, of course. These emails do predate his time as president, but certainly we are glad to have you on and talk about this. Thanks a lot. After I just erased the entire conversation with my statement. It doesn't need to be said. People are having a discussion about newsworthy items in the news cycle, the hundreds, if not thousands, of emails released by the Democrats on the Oversight Committee that implicate Donald Trump in horrific crimes against children. Why do we need to carry water for this guy? Is it a legal concern? Are you afraid you're going to go down the path of ABC or CBS and have to settle out of court? Well, you don't have to settle out of court. You go to court and you fight it. Don't be complicit. Don't be a morning Joe. In a media landscape filled with cowards, Jake Tappers and Morning Joes and Barry Weisses, have some strength, have some backbone. Stand up for the nation that has given you so much, provided you abundance. Nah, They'd rather just cover their ass. Make sure they're not drawing the ire of MAGA world, worried about the threats that might come their way. Welcome to the party. Here's Jessica Dean. This seems more like a hostage video. Doesn't seem like she really wants to be reading it. She wasn't as enthusiastic as Breonna Keeler, but she still read it.
That mentioned the president. And we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell.
Well, none of that's true. None of that's true. And we do want to be clear, she says, and then continues to say things that are untrue. The president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. Is that right? Maybe Google Katie Johnson, Donald Trump, and see if there's any criminal wrongdoing that he's been accused of. Maybe that's the linchpin in her statement, criminal wrongdoing. Because when a suit is brought, usually it's a civil suit, because if cops aren't going to charge, if cops aren't going to seek an indictment because they're afraid, because they're part of the system, they don't want to hurt Donald Trump. He's their guy. Maybe it's not criminal. Maybe that's the get out of jail free card there. That's the wiggle word. Because Donald Trump certainly has been accused, credibly, and not just of sexual assault or battery or rape against women, full-grown women, but against children, little girls. 13, I believe Katie Johnson was. So do you feel good, CNN? Do you fucking feel good? It must be said. We should say this. We have to make it clear. Donald Trump is beyond all of this. He's never been accused. It's just a rewriting of history. And for what? For what? Jessica Dean? Breonna Keeler? Is your job more important than justice for victims? Is your reputation in MAGA world that important? I can't imagine looking myself in the mirror on any given occasion after having carried water for the fascist, credibly accused rapist of children and court adjudicated assaulter of at least one woman, E. Jean Carroll. I can't imagine it. Anyway, what do you think? Let's open up the floodgates of comments. I want to hear from you. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. This is only going to get more chaotic. That's my prediction. Really not a wild prediction. I think anybody can see that. What I'd really love to know is, because I believe this might just maybe, not for sure, but maybe, this might be the nail in the political coffin of Donald Trump. There's a sea change happening. Slowly, quietly, but I think it's happening, even among Republicans. Because I think this, for some, for many, for most, this is a bridge too far. Just ask Thomas Massie and some of the other Republicans who didn't vote for the discharge petition, who are now going to vote to release the Epstein files.
They are flat out publicizing what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. They're trying to create seats based on race, and they can't do it. And we're going to hold them accountable just like any other state.
They don't care. Republicans, Trump Republicans, the administration, they don't care if their corruption and their self-dealing, their fascism, their authoritarian, they don't care that you know that's what it is. They're not embarrassed. They're almost to the point where they're like, yeah, that's what we're doing. What are you going to do about it? It's like a challenge to Democrats. Remarkable what is happening. Let me read you this headline, and then I'm going to play just the headline, and then I'm going to play a clip from Pam Bondi on Hannity last night. Here's the headline. Justice Department sues to block California congressional map that favors Democrats. California voters approved the new map, overwhelmingly, by the way. Overwhelmingly, they approved it. A counterpunch to Trump-backed redistricting in Texas and other red states via a ballot measure this month. The DOJ, I'm going to show you a map later that is in this Washington Post article that shows the wild number of red states that at Donald Trump's direction, at his command, they're redistricting. In the middle, censuses happen every 10 years on the 0 year. 2000, 2010, 2020. Here we are in 2025. The redistricting should have been done in 2020 or 2021. They're doing it in the mid-cycle because Donald Trump wants to control Congress. He said as much. He hasn't even been shy about it or undercover about it. But the DOJ, they're not suing Texas over redistricting in the middle of the census year, in between censuses. No. They're not suing other states that are endeavoring this. No. They're suing California because California is our most populous state with our largest number of congresspeople, congressional districts, and it could do the most damage to the Republican plot against our democracy. And by the way, before I play this clip, you need to know that in Prop 50, there are like fail-safes. Like if Texas stops doing what they're doing, this referendum is null and void. It goes away. It's a direct answer to the authoritarian anti-democracy action that Donald Trump ordered Texas to undergo. That's what it is. But they're not suing red states. They're not suing the states that are trying to gerrymander and steal democratic representation. They're not suing them. Watch Pam Bondi explain it in the most daft, I'm a moron type of way you've ever seen. Gross.
You know, it wasn't even illicit. They are flat out publicizing what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. They're trying to create seats based on race, and they can't do it. And we're going to hold them accountable just like any other state. I mean, they've very publicly said, Sean, what they're trying to do, and it's illegal gerrymandering. They cannot do it. So, yeah, we sued them today. We're going to continue suing California until they start complying with the laws of our country.
If there's ever been an example of projection, like if you could see projection in a dictionary, I mean, there's so many examples of the Republican Party and Republican elected officials and appointed officials like this Attorney General here. But I mean, come on. They very publicly said what they're going to do, and it's illegal gerrymandering. And that's why you're taking California to court. But you're ignoring Texas. You're ignoring Greg Abbott. They're just doing it. Donald Trump has said it. This is the problem with the slow move into fascism. We become used to it. We become used to masked secret police on the streets. I don't know about you, but every time I see one of those photos, I am still shocked and outraged. I'm not going to be like, yeah, this is just the new normal at all. Let me get back to that Washington Post headline. Once again, the headline, Justice Department sues to block California congressional map that favors Democrats. The Justice Department on Thursday joined a lawsuit seeking to block California's new congressional map, the latest chapter in a nationwide redistricting battle sparked by President Donald Trump's push for red states to add more Republican-leaning districts ahead of next year's midterm elections. California's new congressional map was implemented via ballot measure during the November 4th election, gaining the approval of nearly 65% of California voters. This in itself is a move of democracy. This is democratic action. This is the people have spoken. 65% of the 45 or 50 million people in California, well, not all of them are voters, but certainly millions of people voted for this. And Donald Trump wants to disenfranchise them using his Attorney General, his Department of Justice. The measure allows Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, to circumvent the state's nonpartisan redistricting commission to redraw the map for 3 elections, but returns redistricting authority to the commission after the 2030 census. This isn't a power grab. This isn't, we're going to take this power, we're going to commandeer this usurpation of democracy, and we're never giving it back. No, we're answering the Republican attempt to oppress the American people, to suppress the vote, to steal congressional districts from Democrats, to ensure that Republicans stay in power. That's why they're doing it. Because they can't win on their ideas. Their ideas are dog shit. No one likes them. Oh, you're going to take food from hungry children and poor people? I'm not into that. Most Republicans aren't into that. They're into doing what Donald Trump says. They're into worshiping him as a demigod, sure. But when you explain like the numbers and the actual, the effects and the impacts of the policies, and you talk about it, they're not into it. If you pin it to Donald Trump, this is his idea, then yeah, they're blind. Most people are good. I do believe that. Most people are good and decent and don't want their fellow Americans to starve, to go hungry, for children to worry about where their next meal is. Most people don't. Quote, Newsom should be concerned about keeping California safe and shutting down Antifa violence, not rigging his state for political gain, hypocrite Attorney General Pam Bondi wrote in a post on Twitter. The Justice Department is joining a lawsuit filed in federal court this month by California Assembly member David Tangipa, somebody tell me how to say it, a Republican who alleged in his filing that the new congressional map, which adds 5 more Democratic-leaning districts, violates the 14th and 15th Amendment protections against racial gerrymandering. Do you not think, David Tangipa, that's what's taking place in Texas? Or are you just a hypocrite that doesn't care? This is a team sport to you. Democracy is a team sport. It's not about self-rule, self-governance, not about self-reliance. No, it's about team politics. It's about Donald Trump winning at any cost, even if you have to sell your fucking soul. Bondi filed a motion to join the case Thursday, asserting that the case is of general public importance. The Justice Department declined to comment on the suit. Representatives for Newsom didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. Newsom and Democrats in California's legislature set out to redistrict to counteract Texas's new congressional map, drawn at Trump's behest to try to shore up or expand Republicans' narrow House majority next year. In addition to Texas, which approved its new map in August, the GOP has drawn new maps in Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio. Democrats have kicked off a months-long process to draw a new Virginia congressional map and are trying to block the Missouri map from taking effect. Now, look at this map. Put it up on screen while I'm looking at it. You've got 3 states in the mix, 4 states in the mix here. California, which portends maybe 5 plus Democrat seats. 1 in Illinois, 2 in Virginia, 1 in Maryland, 5 in Texas, 1 in Kansas, 1 in Missouri, 1 in North Carolina, 1 in Florida, 2.5 in Florida, 2 to 5 in Florida, and 1 in New Hampshire. Now, Utah tried to do this in a court. A judge just ruled no. It was court ordered. But everything else, look at this map. Pam Bondi's not looking at this. She's not saying anything to these red states. They're doing their patriotic duty to the dear leader, Donald Trump. If you go against the dear leader, that's treason. That's treachery against the country. If you attempt to realign democracy in this country, you're hurting the nation. But if you destroy democracy, A-OK. One more paragraph here. Other states are discussing redistricting, but the Washington Post previously reported some Republican resistance to those efforts in Indiana and Kansas, while some Democrats have pushed back against new maps in Illinois and Maryland. I don't know who they would be, who those Democrats would be that would be against the prospect of saving our democracy, of fighting fascism, authoritarianism, pushing back against these ghouls, who intend to implement the rest of Project 2025, who have unleashed masked secret police in the streets of the United States of America, kidnapping community members, people who are undocumented immigrants, taking hostage American citizens and imprisoning them for sometimes weeks at a time before dropping whatever bullshit charges were put forward first. We need a new crop of Democrats who are willing to fight, to actually fight for the country. I'm speaking politically. We're not to the point yet that we're going to be doing it in the streets, literally. But you gotta fight the easy way before you have to fight the hard way, to prevent the fight the hard way. I, for one, am ready. I love and appreciate you. I'd love to hear from you. You can comment below the video, wherever you're watching it, whether that be Facebook or YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. It's free to do so. And like and follow the Facebook page, Dollemore Daily. I would appreciate it very much. It really does help a lot. The larger subscriber base and like and follower base that we have on those two platforms. I would appreciate it very much. You can comment below the video. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. And I will end before the weekend with one ask, and that is if it is within your financial means, not if you're on retirement or disability or on public assistance or some limited income situation, do not. Just make sure you're subscribed and like and comment and interact with the videos. But if you do have a couple bucks extra a month that you don't mind throwing away, please throw it my way. You can support independent media and help me produce this content and reach the millions of people that I do every single month. I would appreciate it. First and foremost, you can go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Great way to help support this work. $2 a month right there. And also you can go to YouTube. Click the join button below the video to become a channel member. Again, $2 a month. Does go a long way if I'm able to marshal the size of my mid but growing audience.
And that's what it takes. That we are way past time to gather in a park and sing a song. And it's great to protest where you live. In this moment in history, it's time to protest where they live, and they live in Washington, D.C.
I talk about it a lot. That in this dangerous time, in America, this particular moment in history when we have secret masked police kidnapping community members off the street, literally taking hostage Americans and detaining them for weeks, if not months at a time, and then dropping whatever bullshit charges they raised. This is an important moment, and we cannot rely. It can't be relied upon politicians to save us from this regime, from this fascism, from this authoritarian overreach, from these self-dealing, credibly accused rapists of children. We cannot rely on politicians to save us. It's going to be on you and me. It's going to be on all of us to get active, to get organized. And part of that is to get out into the streets and make our presence so known that Donald Trump can't say, oh, this fake news polls. It's on us. Obviously, you should be calling your congresspeople and your senators. Again, 202-224-3121. That's the number. You should have it in your phone, if not memorized. The other element is, again, getting into the streets. The No Kings protests. There's another one this weekend that is shaping up to be a tremendous effort on the part of patriots from all over the country coming here to where I live in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, to amass on the mall to let Donald Trump know this will not be tolerated any longer. And one of the organizers is with me today, Cliff Cash. Many of you have reached out to me. By the way, Cliff, you'd want to know this. Many of my audience has been scolding me like I'm a do-nothing because we have not yet connected. But here you are. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And thanks, audience, for scolding. Please do that to everybody in the country so they'll reach out too.
So I want to get to who you are and what led you here, but let's get to the most important. That takes a backseat to what I think is the most important thing, and that is saving our democracy, saving this nation. Tell us a little bit about Remove the Regime on the 22nd of November.
So this is kind of a long time coming. My personal opinion is that the citizens of this country should have shut down DC before this guy was ever inaugurated. But here we are. It's 10 months in, 11 months in. And, you know, as much as I wish it had happened sooner, I do think really right now is a really good time, being that he's really on the ropes. I mean, if ever a United States president was on the ropes, this guy, his polling numbers, not everybody knows this, his polling numbers in multiple polls, in a plethora of polls, He's polling lower than he was right after January 6th, which of course means he's polling lower than he was during and after COVID, which of course means he's polling lower than when he lost, and he did lose in 2020. So he's never been less popular. Now we know he gave fellatio to Bill Clinton and others, all this stuff that's coming out. He's clearly a predator. We've known that. We've always known that. Everybody that has the intellectual honesty to admit it. So he's on the ropes. Epstein is kryptonite. Gaza is kryptonite. Ukraine is kryptonite. ICE is incredibly unpopular. So are the tariffs. So what I'm telling people is when your opponent is on the ropes, you don't take a water break. You throw an uppercut. And this protest, this political action could very much be that uppercut, because these leaders, and that's not always the best name for these people. These leaders don't really lead. They didn't give women the right to vote. Women fought for it. They didn't give gay people the right to marry. They fought for it. And so right now we are a horse and cart situation. They are not the horse. They are the cart. We are the horse. We show them what's politically popular. And right now it is our duty as citizens to flood DC and show them what is politically popular, because whether you believe it or not, they will jump ship. If you don't think so, Google the name Marjorie Taylor Greene. She might be an imbecile and she might be a human trash can, two things that I personally believe. But
I would go farther than it's not just might. We traffic in certainty here. So
sure. To say she's a human trash can is the most gracious thing I can come up with. But she is a clever enough political player to know which way the wind blows. Yeah. She is ready to jump ship because, and only because, she knows that her people, her constituents, are ready to jump ship. And that is as red as it gets in the northern foothills of Georgia. So I'm telling you, his support wasn't real in the first place. I don't think he won. I don't think he won. I don't think he was shot. His military parade is testament to his lack of support. On the same day that almost no one came to his military parade, 5 million people came out to say, "Hey, we hate your guts." So this guy's on the ropes, and it's our duty to show these optics to both parties and to other leaders around the world.
Well, we've put some posters up that you provided me before you came on, and we'll put the website up on the screen, removetheregime.com. There's going to be a lot of people. I'm going to be there. We even off mic, I hadn't said that yet, but I'm going to be there. You'll have an opportunity to join one with another with all kinds of people, your neighbors, just making it to DC. You've got a whole slew of events over the course of the 20th through the 22nd. There's going to be bands. The Dropkick Murphys are going to be there. There's some comedy events that you would expect, you being a comedian. It's going to be a wide-ranging set of ways to resist. And I, for one, am absolutely here for it. Again, we'll put that website up. People can get some information and even donate money to support the cause. Now let's get back to the less important shit, which is, tell me about you. I know you're a comedian. What led you to this uncanny position where you're leading resistance against a fascist regime and literally putting yourself in danger? I know I get in a litany of death threats and physical violence threats against me. People really feel very lucky and in their imaginary keyboard warrior ability to take on former Marine and everything else that comes with that. But
sure.
What led you down this path?
Let me say this real quick for everybody that's interested in, I'm sorry to answer a different question, but for everybody that's interested in November 20th through 22nd, if you'll go to removetheregime.com, you can also just go to my socials, Cliff Cash Comedy. These nighttime events are our sole method for raising money for the daytime events. So on the 20th, you can do a happy hour meet and greet with food and drink. And that's going to be like every big political influencer that you know pretty much in one place. and you can meet and hang out with all of us. It's a really cool space that we have reserved for that. Really great food, and we'll provide drink tickets, and that's a really cool thing. So I just put it up on my socials. There are multiple tiers that you can donate. If you donate $1,000, you get VIP access to all 3 nighttime events, meet and greets with all the people, preferred seating. But you can also come to the comedy show and the music show for a $45 general admission ticket. We're trying not to be exclusionary.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been yet invited to the happy hour, but I would certainly lend my internet celebrity face if I would be welcome, and then my audience could come in and
for sure
shake a hand and hug a neck.
I'd love to have you there.
So
done, absolutely.
So now that you've done the politician thing and answered a question that I didn't ask, well, tell me how'd you get here?
I have always been pretty politically involved since I've been old enough to care or mature enough to grasp it. I volunteered for the Obama campaign both times, knocking doors, as lowly of a volunteer as you could be. And I've been involved in a lot of environmental fights, including a cement plant that would have been the largest source of pollution in my community for 50 years. It would have been the 4th largest cement plant in the United States. And me and a small group of citizens fought that for 8 years, and we beat them. Only the 2nd time that's happened in U.S. history. So that's kind of where I got my sea legs, or whatever, if you will. And I've always used my comedy to raise money for candidates, for unhoused people, for refugees. So it wasn't that big of a stretch to get into this work. But the short answer to why I'm doing what I'm doing is it just kind of seemed like nobody was. When I started doing this work in January, I was unaware of anything called No Kings or anything called 5051. I really was not super aware of Indivisible, although I know it existed before then. And no one was doing any big organized protests. So myself and Jessica Denson formed 14th Now, nowmarch.org. And we showed up before the inauguration in DC demanding that members of Congress at least talk about the 14th Amendment, Article 3, because our view has always been this guy's constitutionally disqualified aside from any convictions or stolen documents or espionage or treason.
But for the audience's edification, Article what Cliff is talking about here in the 14th Amendment, Article 3, is the insurrection, that if you engage in insurrection against the country, you're not eligible to hold this office. That's correct?
Yeah, and I think he has further drawn himself into that box by pardoning all these people that attacked the Capitol. I mean, we have videos of them attacking and stomping police officers. He pardoned all of them, blanket pardon, including some of them who were charged with sedition. So I think the argument that even if you think he didn't do anything, he has now offered aid and comfort to people charged with sedition. So he is an insurrectionist. He shouldn't be in our White House. So that was the very first push. And then in March, we did a big veterans event. We got about 5,000 veterans onto the National Mall. We led really massive groups to Fox News DC and the Heritage Foundation. And that was the very first Heritage Foundation protest. That has now morphed into weekly Heritage Foundation protest every Monday. And
every Monday at like 4, right?
Yep, 4 p.m. every Monday in DC. Yeah. We taunt tyrants, mock Nazis, and always punch up. And then we eat pizza, and we use the hashtag No Pizza for Nazis. But so that heritage effort evolved into this weekly effort, and the Fox effort evolved into Fox Takedown, which now has Fox protests going in 19 cities. So the goal is to create something and then amplify it and sort of extrapolate it out into a bigger reach and a bigger network. There's only one Heritage Foundation, so you can't do those necessarily in multiple places, but we've put a lot of pressure on those folks, and we take at least a little bit of credit for their current imploding. When Kevin Roberts came out and refused to condemn Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes, I feel pretty confident that some of the people who were unpleased within Heritage Foundation, at least some of that had to be the thought process of, we have people out front every Monday calling us Nazis, and now this guy won't condemn a Nazi. It's bad optics. So I like to think that we helped with that. We have literally found out where these people live and passed flyers around their entire neighborhoods. We meet them outside their churches on Sundays. We are not toothless. We are not just gathering in a park and singing Kumbaya. We are making Nazis nervous. And they are
no more noble work than that, my friend.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. That we are way past time to gather in a park and sing a song. And it's great to protest where you live. In this moment in history, it's time to protest where they live, and they live in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I love that. Well, listen, I'll put this on the record here that my platform, my little tiny corner of the internet, 1.25 million subscribers, it's open to you. Some of those things you mentioned early on in the year, I'd never heard of. A gathering of veterans. I was in the United States Marine Corps for years. I didn't know about that. So sure. I dedicate and offer you my platform to do hits like this to spread the word about what you're doing and where people can meet one with another again, because a lot of people feel isolated, they feel lonely, they feel desperate, they feel helpless. And it's organizing like this type of thing on the 22nd and the days previous to that will make you find community and know that what you're doing isn't useless and it absolutely does offer help. And you can be a voice for the voiceless in your community. Cliff Cash, I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's noble. I think it's patriotic. And thank you for joining me.
Thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate it.